Now, over the years, we have actually seen quite a few aircraft models from Icelandair in scale 500 by Herpa Wings, and we have also reviewed two 757s, but both in special liveries. Here, we have one in the standard livery. And with that, welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 757-200 of Icelandair. At the front of the box we have the cutout, so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and at the bottom of the box we have the Icelandair branding. Then on the back side of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. We also have been given the original dimensions and some additional information. So that's all for the box. Let's take a closer look inside and at the aircraft model itself. And before we get going, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model comes with this little piece of cardboard with an apron position printed on. And here she is, the Boeing 757-200 in the current standard livery of Icelandair. And yes, of course, I know there is technically a new version of the standard livery. However, that has only been applied on the 737 MAX 8 aircraft of Icelandair, which have been grounded for quite some time now. So this is the only livery currently in use, and that's why I would say it's still the current livery of the airline. Now, with that said, let us take a closer look at the model, and we start off with the tail section where we have the Icelandair branding on the vertical stabilizer. On the fuselage we find the flag of Iceland, the full registration code of the aircraft, and the aircraft type specification. At the very tail we also have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. Then at the front of the aircraft across the fuselage we have the writing of Icelandair, and underneath the cockpit windows we have the name of the aircraft. The cockpit windows themselves have been fairly decently detailed, where we also find the window wipers printed on. The engine nacelles have been given the same yellow color as used in the Icelandair branding, giving a nice contrast to the white and blue fuselage. And we also have the nice silver leading edges. The backside, well, I'm not a big fan, but even a currently released 757 from Herpa Wings wouldn't look much better here, so I guess it's kind of fair enough. Much better, however, is the view from the front, where if we look into the engines we can see the engine fan blades very nicely. Then we should also spend a little bit of time with the wings. If we take a look here at the top side, we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out very nicely, and we do also have some different shades of grey for additional detailing that we also find on the underside of the wings, which I think look rather nice, where we also find the full registration code of the aircraft. Then this aircraft actually had the winglets retrofitted. They were added just a few years after the aircraft entered service with Icelandair in real life, and I think they look really nice with the Icelandair branding on them. Then if we take a look at the landing gear here, the main landing gear underneath the wings, I think that's a fairly reasonable standard from Herpa Wings. It's pretty much the same as we would get with current released 757s, but the front landing gear is slightly changed. Here the front landing gear from the Icelandair, notice the wheels, and then here on a more recent release of a TUI 757, the wheels slightly bigger, the landing gear not quite as tall with the old one. I think that's better with the new landing gear. However, overall I think the older landing gear looks better. Now, a curious fact about the 757 is that it can't take the standard cargo containers such as many of the other aircraft we see these days, so it can only be loaded with loose luggage and cargo. We do have the doors to these compartments in the back and the front, but that's why the aircraft famously has been named the Long Hell by ground staff. So there we have it, the Boeing 757-200 in the current livery of Icelandair. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, let us start off with the print quality, and that is simply said, excellent. I really can't fault it there. Any detail that has been printed on, so excellently, no faults whatsoever. The physical details of the model, well, they are also great. I mean, okay, I'm not a huge fan of the backside of the engines, but more current releases look just the same. The front ending gear I think looks better on this aircraft model. We could argue that it's maybe a tiny bit too tall, but overall I still think it's better than what we have today. And on a personal note, I think the Icelandair livery really suits the 757. So I would say yes, absolutely, it's an aircraft worth having in one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. Of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.